Hello, Jesse boy.
Hello.
This I want you to explain a little bit about your project work that you're trying to achieve by the year 2020 or what? I don't know, right? So
Well,
can you see here and explain to me about your
well,
project work?
the project name is Project Nine, and I've been actually writing it in my journal. Journal number one, anyway.
Okay, that's good.
Okay.
Can you
So,
explain a little bit about what is this called? Micro?
micro machines, they're called Project Nanite.
Okay.
So, the basic function of this project, or the basic objective of this project, is to actually reduce death rates in the world. And how this can happen is actually a few ways. It can eliminate any type or mostly almost all types of foreign threats in the body, like cancer, Ebola, or even the heavy hitters like malaria or others. Anyway, that was the first question answered. Next one.
Now, what are the basic functions of this?
Well, basic functions, I've not been working very much on it because I can't figure out a lot of ways, but I already thought of two basic functions. The first one would be movement. When I first started this project, I was thinking, gee, I wonder how these things were actually going to move around the body. And then I figured out a way. I noticed that blood actually flows in many directions in the body. So I decided just make these things flow with the blood. But there is one thing that I want to keep different. Project Nanite is something like machines and a master. The master I call Master Nanite. And this actually controls all other nanites by the main point, the brain or the heart. There's something very special about this nanite. It's supposed to be able to stay stable in that position and not be taken away by the flow of blood. So I need it to be stable, grounded in that organ that it is in. Either the heart or the brain, as I mentioned earlier. That's the first one, movement. Next one, recognition. So we know that we have four types of blood groups. AB, O, and B. So these are four different types. When I was first thinking of this project as well, movement and recognition came to my mind at first because I was thinking, how will I make these things be recognizable by the blood and not be causing a blood clot in the body? And I thought of this. How about if I make four different types of nanites? One for A, one for B, one for AB, and one for O. These different types are actually going to be recognizable by the body. And by that case, actually relieved my problem.
Can you explain a little bit about when you insert this machine, like how this will control the blood pressure?
Well, it doesn't have to control blood pressure. That's not the function of it. It's not supposed to control blood pressure, but it's supposed to be able to survive it anyway. And by that I mean to say when the heart takes in blood and releases. So that's around 120 and 70 BP. And as you can see the diagrams here for the master nanite, it's supposed to be able to survive when the blood's taking in and not be crushed, and when the blood's going out, it's not supposed to exit from the organ. That's the two main types of BP it's supposed to be able to survive. Squeeze and release.
And what is how this will this machine work at the last stage of cancer or the first stage of cancer?
Well, this machine is supposed to only work in the ideal first stage of cancer. And by that I mean to say the first few stages when the organ isn't completely taken over or affected. Like for an example, if there's an infected cell that's producing too much, then these master nanites will eradicate it in three different ways that I'm thinking of. Either one, they will actually send the chemical reaction to that cell, causing it to self-destruct inside. Two, I could somewhat make a system, a weaponry system or an arsenal system inside the nanite that could actually destroy these type of cells. Like for an example, if there's a corrupted cell, This could actually use a little bit of laser power and disintegrate it. 3. This one might be a little overboard and might cause a little bit of nanites to be affected, so I'm not gonna consider this one too much. But the third option is that if these nanites can actually absorb everything from that affected part of the cell. If it absorbs everything, then the cell won't have enough. Then the cancer cell won't have enough resources to reproduce and spread this disease. So everything that the cancer cell had will now be destroyed, and the cancer could be eradicated. But this also poses another hypothetical problem. If everything is taken away from that blood, could this actually cause the nanites to be corrupted by the cancer? So I don't want this to be corrupted very easily. So I'm not going to think about this option very much.